Welcome to Coffee with Joy. I'm your favorite host, Joy. So excited to have my guests, Ashley and Natalie, in the building. Yes, they're talking to the CEO and founder of Fat Girls Travel Too. So let's bring them on in. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Natalie. How are you all doing?
Hey,
Hi,
Joy.
Jory.
Ashley, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And then when she finished, Natalie, can you just chime on in and tell us a little bit about yourself before we get right into it?
So I'm Ashley. You can find me online. I'm at Simply Curvy. That's Curvee. I feel like that's my tagline when I give my Instagram. But one of my favorite hubs on the internet is the Fat Girls Travel 2 community, where we talk about all things plus size travel and we curate group trips with the plus size traveler in mind.
Awesome.
And
Natalie.
I'm Natalie. You can find me on Instagram as well as Fat, Pretty, and Budget Traveling. That's Fat, FAT, kind of like Fat Girls Travel too, right? I'm a plus size traveler. I'm half of the duo behind Fat Girls Travel too, and I am a travel addict.
Yes, yes. Awesome. So, Ashley, how did you and Natalie started Fat Girls Travel 2 and why did you all start Fat Girls Travel 2?
Okay, so that's interesting. So in the beginning of Fat Girls Travel 2, it wasn't Natalie and I. It was like a solo endeavor, and I wouldn't even call it an endeavor. It was more like I wanted to see representation of plus size travelers online. I wanted to see women who look like me. So I simply created an Instagram, just reposting plus size women. In 2019, I had this idea to host a plus size group trip to Cuba, and that's where Natalie and I connected.
Oh, wow. Okay, okay. Natalie, you want to chime in?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I saw the platform on Instagram. I reached out to Ashley. I was just like, I've always loved to travel. I mean, I've been traveling probably for as long as I can remember. I reached out to Ashley about traveling and setting up a trip to Barbados. And she told me about the trip that was coming up to Cuba, and I decided to join. And I think pretty much then after that, it was just up since there. Like we just connected, and I think it was maybe a partnership meant to be. God put his hand on it. He sprinkled some grace and mercy upon us, and our friendship rose, our partnership rose, our business grew, and here we are.
Awesome. So now, what has been like the ups and downs? Now that you all are a couple of years in, what has been the ups and downs of creating Fat Girls Travel Too, right? Because when someone look at it, it kind of speaks for itself. You have to be plus, and you have to be born female in order to, be part of this group. So along your journey, what has been the ups and downs? Anyone could take it.
I think the only down that we had was probably COVID.
Mm.
Like I said, like the first group trip was in 2019, and then we all know what happened March of 2020. And I think that was the only moment that was really a down for us. But like Natalie said, like God covered us with his grace and mercy, and we've been able to sustain that hump post COVID.
Mm. Okay, so Natalie,
Yes.
what has been the ups? Because again, there's many success. As much as we want to, state that we walking along this line that every entrepreneur is doing awesomely great. We're doing something wonderful. Ashley stated the down. So what has been the ups with Fat Girls Travel Too?
I think the ups for travel too have been actually Ashley and I get out, we meet women, and I think one of the ups is like meeting women that actually love our platform and tell us how great it is for them and how inspiring it is for them. And another ups that I must mention is that Fat Girls Travel 2 has been featured in the New York Times and Washington Post. I think that was the highlight of last year for us because as entrepreneurs, Ashley and I both have talked, although this is something we're very passionate about, sometimes it's hard, right? It's hard when um everything is not flourishing perfectly, and you're like, oh, sometimes you feel a little defeated or demotivated. And to see our business on such a large platform that's like an international publication, I think that was definitely a high for Ashley and I this last year.
Yeah,
So now, how
absolutely.
do you all strategize the trips? How do you all maintain that? Hey, we want to make sure that we're flourishing, that we get the word out, and congratulations on being across other communication outlets. How do you all continue to strategize and to bring in women from across from across the nation? I'm just going to go out there across the world. How do you all continue to maintain a strategy in order to continue to build Fat Girls Travel too? Natalie, then Ashley. Oh,
I think being out there. So I think being out there is the key. Marketing is an art, right? And so I think we both, as full-time working entrepreneurs, we honest to be transparent, we struggle with that, right? But being out there, we go to other events, we post on social media, and I think that's how we get other women that look like us, that may have some anxieties about traveling, to join our trips. And that's my take on it. What do you think, Ash?
So yeah, I was gonna say for me, and those are great points, Nat. But for me, it's just the cultivating the community. So we
Mhm.
have a private Facebook group where we're very active and engaging with the women there. And it's not always like salesy, right? Because we are building a community of women. So we're there with recommendations. I even ask about recommendations, right? We give recommendations. We let people know about like travel deals that we find for different airlines or hotels, some affairs that we find. So we're really big on building our community through our private Facebook page, our email list, and also in our um, DMs on Instagram. So we're very active there too. Like if you send us a message, you're going to either be talking to Natalie and I every time.
So you guys have an awesome, great communication outlet, because that's number one when trying to, because you guys are bringing foreigners in not in the literal sense, right? You guys are bringing foreigners together because these people don't know one another, correct? They don't know each other. So you guys are trying to build this family, this community, and really try to entrust, because you don't want them to have this one-time ordeal. You want them to go on multiple trips, right? So in going on these trips, how do you all look at the earth and say, okay, how are we positioning our travel? Are we going to this continent for this season, or this quarter one? How do you all strategize along that way? How do you all say, okay, we're just going to go to Antarctica, Australia? How I always wonder, how do you all, if you don't mind sharing, because as an entrepreneur, there's some tidbits that we can't just outright let people know, right? So if you choose not to, I understand, but how do you all map out to say, okay, this quarter we're going here, we're doing this, and we're coming back? How do you all too, as partners, entrepreneurs, how do you all decide where you are going to travel next?
So the interesting thing about Natalie and I, and Natalie kind of said it when she introduced herself, we love to travel. So a lot of the destinations that we go to, these are places that Natalie and I both have visited. And we know that the experience will be amazing for plus size women. And these are just places that we love. We even have places where we've kind of built our own little communities, like our travel guide in Cartagena. Like it's like family now, right? So that's kind of how I think I answered the question. We just love to travel. So if we've been, y'all are coming too.
Yes.
So because the reason why I asked, because it's like almost you're alluding to the next part, where it's like an event planner, right? So if I'm an event planner, I got my florist, I have my photographer, I have my videographer. So I have these people stationed so that we could cut price, or I can immediately access to making the trip an experience, right? Because I'm gonna just go out there and say it. Anybody could pay for the trip, right? If you set your mind to it, you could pay for the trip. But people are looking for the experience. They want to know, how is this making me feel great amongst people I do not know and I really want to come together? We already know, we already covered that part. I'm fat and I'm a woman. We got that part down part. But I want to have an experience. I want to build. So how do you all cultivate that experience when you all do have a group of, I'm assuming, 3+ women on your trips?
Definitely. I think we cultivate the trip in thinking about things that most people want to do in those locations, right? Yeah, this is Fat Girls Travel too, but being fat is just a part of who I am. It's not a limiting factor, it's just a part of who I am. I'm also a woman, I'm a traveler, I'm this, I'm that, right? Everybody has their story, right? So we
Mhm.
focus on what is a fun and pretty much all inclusive trip. That's what we try to gear towards, right? We think about
Mhm.
accommodations, we think about dinner and food, we think about the like ultimate girls trip, a night
Yeah.
out, a cute dinner, pictures, right? Just things that are fun for an ultimate girls trip. And
Mm.
that's what and we talk to our followers. Like we said, we've created a travel tribe of women all across the United States, actually all across the world, right? And so they
Right.
communicate to us, like, what are they looking for? Where do they want to go? What do they want to do? What are they most interested in? Every time we plan a trip and we pick the location, before we go on that trip, we have meetings with the girls that go on the trips with us. We have like little pre-meetings, and we ask them, what are you most interested in doing? What are you excited about? What are you nervous about? Have you thought about your outfits? We're bringing a photographer. And these are things that cultivate a genuine travel experience that, of course, you're paying for the trip, but it gives you more. It gives you a benefit of
Yeah.
more than what you bargained for in most cases, our travelers say.
Now,
Yeah, and
going on
I
this
like to
trip, do
think
you?
about.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Ashley. Go ahead. Perfect. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like traveling with us is literally a full experience. All you have to do is show up. You don't have to think about where you're gonna eat. You don't have to think about what you're gonna do. You just need to bring your outfits and show up, right? Like if you're a content creator, there's a photographer there for you to create your content. If you are a no picture kind of girl, that's okay. Like there's a space for you too for no pictures. Yeah, there's plenty of gifts on the trip, just all the things. It's really an experience, and all you have to do is show up, girl. We got the
So you
rest.
all heard it. So basically, you all heard it. Just show up. So if you're a plus and you're a woman and you would like to be part of this troop, please just make sure you sign up and look forward to Fat Girls Travel to across all social media. So after these messages, we're going to continue to talk to Ashley and Natalie about some tips. They stated some before, so they have shared some inside their social media. So again, they're always open to women and plus. So after these messages, we're going to listen to a quick soundbite and then we're going to return back to our guests, Natalie and Ashley. Latest news, today's news, current news, gossip news, you name it. I am your host with Coffee with Joy as I share any up-to-date news that's taking place around the world. But if you would like to check it out, please make sure you go to my YouTube channel, Coffee with Joy, where I share the latest topic. I am your host with Coffee with Joy with today's topic. Welcome back to Coffee with Joy. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy, for we'll love to have you on so that you can see some great information that's being spewed out, because here we normalize the difficult conversation. So after this, we're going to continue to talk to Ashley and Natalie about some good tips that they have stated in their piece.
I waited on my time, now my time coming. Nah, them have nothing on me, them know me do it better. I waited on my time, now my time coming. Now them have nothing on me, them know me do it better. Them know me do it better.
Awesome. Thank you all, team. So now, Natalie and Ashley, you all share some great tips on here. Now, with the expectations, has someone ever went against the expectation? As much as we're not trying to make it seem like it's daunting, right? Because we know in every situation there's the ups and downs, as we stated before. But when you have your expectation, does anyone realize, like, wow, this is not what I expected, or this is not what I expected? Because it could be the up, or it could be great, or it could be for the worse. Have you all experienced that?
I think we have, and I think it's been in a positive. I think, like Ash said, the Cuba trip, I was a participant, right? What
Mhm.
made me fall in love with Fat Girls Travel 2 and the idea of what Fat Girls Travel 2 was at that time was it was more than what I expected, right? I was already a
Mhm.
traveler. I went on a trip with other women, and I literally found a travel tribe. I found friends in that trip, women that I traveled with after that, and women that I just still talk to, right? Women that I engage with in other aspects of my life now that I met on that trip, right? So it was
Mhm.
more than what I bargained for as a traveler, right? Um, I don't, we haven't had really negative, like somebody saying, like, oh, this is not what I expected and I'm
Right.
unhappy, right? Because I think we do a great
Right.
job of laying out expectations, right? We let people know
Mhm.
and we provide options, right? We provide options as far as like, do you want to, the rate is for sharing a room. If you don't want to share a room, there's an option for an individual room, right? Where you can be by yourself and join the group for all the activities and come back to your room by yourself and decompress, right? This activity is available, but it's optional, right? We have free days to where if you don't want to participate in that day, you can free and be on your own, or there's
Mhm.
optional activities where you can be with the group, right? So honestly, for the most part, what we've had is positive. This isn't what I expected, but I love it type of
Awesome.
reactions.
Awesome. Ashley.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, she pretty much summed it up. If there's
Right.
anything that I could add, is that the proof in that is how many repeat customer or travelers we have.
Mhm. What has been your most memorable moments? Just trying to really exploit that, making sure that people know that this is a comfortable open space that we really, we share as much as that you all stated prior to that. How do you all continue to express that to newcomers? So what has been your most memorable moments?
Oh, so I think I
Ooh,
have two. I
okay.
know, right? My first memorable moment, I'm always gonna go back to that Cuba trip because it's just so special in my heart.
Mhm.
And I just remember us laughing a lot, like just the laughs and the joy that we all experienced together, whether we were novice travelers or
Mhm.
experienced travelers, first time group travelers, solo travelers, whatever. Like, we just really enjoyed that experience together, and we laughed a lot on that trip. um my second most memorable moment was, I think, in that, I don't know if you remember this, but in Cartagena, we took a boat over to one of the islands. And when we got off the boat, one of the travelers really wanted her head wrapped, right? And I think we're living in a space where people are like conscious about, if things are cultural appropriation, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
So one of the travelers who was of Caucasian descent went up to one of our African American travelers and just asked her about her head wrap and asked her if she
Mhm.
could like put the head wrap on her. And for me, that just, I don't know, it just filled my heart with joy that we are doing something that not only make women feel comfortable just in their bodies, but they're sharing cultures with one another. And that
Mm.
was definitely a highlight for me.
Oh, wow.
I
Yes,
really
yes,
liked
yes.
I really liked that moment as well. And it resonated with me the same way, but a little bit different. So we were in Cartagena, Colombia, right? And I am Panamanian. So I'm Latina, right? I resonate with Latino culture and African American culture, right? And so being in a country where it's a Latin country and head wraps are very Afro descendant, right? So anywhere you go, any country that you go to, if you find people of Afro descent, you're going to see these head wraps, right? That's in America.
Mhm.
That's in, of course, still in Africa. That's here in the US. That's in Latin America, right? And so when I saw her getting her head wrap, and they also were doing some dancing. If you remember, one of our Ashley had spoke earlier about our travel partner in Cartagena, he was dancing with the young lady that was a participant, and it was just such a beautiful thing. And they were doing kind of like some Afro Caribbean, like salsa merengue dancing, and it was just so beautiful. So yes, I like that moment as well.
Oh wow. And I ask that because those are what last long and really be able to exploit and really talk about, and just sharing those moments and really building the community with the experience, right? So, what do you always advise your woman to bring on the trip? I know like myself, I try my best. I try. God knows I try to really pack light but pack right, right? And it seemed like it never worked. I'd be so gung ho about packing. And I'm like, how is this full? And I have yet to get you in here. And all I could see is chart being charged $90 for two items. I'm like, how? And it's hard for me. So, and I'm really working on it. So that is my prayer for 24. Really trying to pack correctly, making sure that everything's being utilized, making sure that I have everything for me. So, how do you advise your travelers to what to pack and the necessary items to pack?
So I'll say this. We have a handy dandy packing list that we tell everybody, bring these items, make sure you have this down to the color scheme for our photo shoots and things of that nature. But I am a proud overpacker. I am a proud overpacker. I have gotten to the point to where I am always checking the bag, right? I am always checking the bag, and I am happy with that. I'm proud about that. I bring all the items that I want. I want to look cute on my trips. I
Mhm.
always say that our part of our goal is encouraging women to slay, plus size women to slay across the globe unapologetically.
Yeah.
And I need my outfits so that I can slay. So I'm a proud overpacker. That being said, I think some tips that I always give, that we always give our travelers is, hey, we are plus size women, right? And in a lot of countries that we go to, even if they're plus size inclusive, embrace plus size women, it is very difficult to step off the plane if your bag does not come to have items to wear, right? That is a
Mhm.
catastrophe, and it's pretty much every
Yeah.
plus size women traveler's nightmare. Okay.
Mhm.
So, what I
Yeah.
like to tell all of our travelers, and when we have our pre meeting, I always say, if you're going to check a bag, check a bag. I do that. But I always carry a carry on too, an oversized bag, and I put a couple items in there, an extra shirt, a pair of leggings. You're going to have me with an extra pair of panties. I'm going to have my
Yeah.
an extra swimsuit, right? Just so when I get off that plane for that first day, if my big bag doesn't arrive, I'm still going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's what I plan people. So that way it takes away the anxiety. You're going to get off. You have everything that is necessary to just enjoy that day and figure out the bag later.
Yeah. Figure out the bag later. Ashley?
So this was about packing.
Yes.
Now, a proud overpacker, and I'm glad
I
that
think your
she's an
shirt.
overpacker because she always has something that I forget.
Mm.
So I would say make a note of all the things that you need, from different medicines, and you know the things that you need, right? So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
make a list of all the things that you need,
Yes.
especially your necessities.
Yes. 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 And I think you need to get a shirt, Natalie, that says "I'm a proud overpacker," because I
Proud
think that would be
overpacker. We might do that.
right.
Fat girls travel too. Proud overpacker. I'm here for
Yeah.
it.
I think many people surely understand that, and it's give the agent heads up. So let me
Right.
slide on this one,
Exactly. Right.
because we're trying to save
Listen.
funds here. And
Yes.
and just as you stated, Ashley, having this list, I try my best. I don't know how well you all do with your group, but I know as an individual it doesn't work so well. So I just say, Lord, just be a fence as we get in there to the airport. I'm trying to tricks and trades, trying to hold my foot up, trying to talk to the agent. I'm just like, yeah, so yes, always, you hearing the profane going words, people late, and I'm just holding a smile, praying that I could get this through. I know it says bag overload, but God, you a way maker. You a way.
Miracle worker, promise keeper. I am
Yes.
taking these
Yeah.
items with me.
So if I were to
And
ever
if
go on the
okay,
trip,
let me say this. If you're traveling with us, we give you a nice welcome package and bag. So if you're traveling with us, girl, just save a little bit of room for your welcome gifts. Because we don't want you
Good.
carrying all the welcome gifts through the airport. So just save a little
right?
bit of room for us.
Just a little.
Yes.
So you all hear that? I know I'm not alone. So just save room. If you choose to go with Fat Girls Travel too, they will make it very happily, very homely, very welcoming that you all can join. So what is your upcoming trip? If anybody were to watch and say, hey, how can I join them? How can I get on with Fat Girls Travel, Fat Girls Travel too? Where are they going next? What is the two next country or the next state? Where are you all going to and how can they all find you?
So I think the trips that we're coming, no, not I think, the trips that are coming up that we are really pushing are Morocco and Egypt. Morocco is going to be such a time. Morocco is a beautiful country. We have some great things planned, some spa days, a beach day,
Mm,
a city tour around Marrakesh. We are going to be doing some really fun things in Morocco. We're going to do a desert night experience, sleeping in a tent, a luxury tent. Let's be clear, it's going to have a bed just in case anybody's worried about that. But we
mhm,
are going to have that experience. So, Morocco is an upcoming trip, and Egypt. And the way that you book
mm,
our trips, any of our trips, is you visit our website, www.fatgirlstravel2.com.
mm. Awesome.
Ash,
Awesome.
anything you want to add to that? Because I always forget something. I'm going to be honest.
No, honestly, that was perfect, right? And you can find us on social media. That's Facebook and Instagram at Fat Girls Travel 2. And if you have any questions for us, feel free to DM us or send us a message through our website. And we do have one trip listed for 2025. That's to Cartagena, Colombia.
That's true.
Oh, y'all love Colombia. That's one thing about it. Y'all love
We
Colombia.
Colombia is a vibe. And the reason why we repeat Colombia so much is because, first
Mhm.
of all, we have good partners there. The girls
Yeah.
always have a great experience, right? It is definitely an entry level type of trip. Of course,
Mm,
we create trips to a special category of women, right? And a lot of times women have in our categories have these anxieties about traveling. They want to get their feet in the door and they've taken the leap to travel with us, right? And so we
mhm,
want to have a good balance, right? And something that's not super far away where they still have a great experience. Um, and Cartagena is that. Cartagena is just such a vibe. Great food, great people, great beaches, just great everything. And so it is a wonderful beginning trip. And our travelers love it. We love it.
I hear. You all love Colombia. If nothing else, Colombia, I think y'all need to give them a deal. So, what is the end goal for Fat Girl Travel Too? Right? You guys been doing this for a while. So, what is your end goal? What do you? What if it had to be a timeline in the next 3 years? What do you hope for Fat Girls Travel Too to look different from today?
Ooh.
Ooh, you got something, Ash? I got something we've talked about, but I wonder if you're going to mention it.
Okay, you go first. Because I have
Okay.
something, but I just want to make sure that I say it correctly. So go ahead.
Right.
Okay. So, of course, we each curate trips that we both go on, and we go on these trips and we take women on these trips, right? But a lot of people have been approaching us, women in our community. Like we said, we have cultivated and continue to cultivate genuine relationships and a community. And so a lot of women have reached out to us about hosting like their birthday trips or their
Mm,
anniversary trips and things of that nature. And so Ash and I have started to put the infrastructure in place for us to be able to do that. So when there's like plus size influencer, blogger events, participation events, we can curate those trips and assist the curators of those programs with travel and trips, and also curate private trips for women that just need assistance in our community.
mm.
And I would
Awesome.
love to
That's
see that. I
amazing.
know we want to see that grow over the next couple of years. So I think that is something you will definitely see from Fat Girls Travel 2 coming soon.
Oh wow, that's phenomenal.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think it's a great hub because you guys are playing that outlet, because the only reason why I always ask that, because at some point God's going to allow you to meet your pinnacle, right? But how do you keep going? How do you
He
reach this
should have.
end
He
goal?
should
So
have.
what's the next? So you got to be in preparation for the next step. You can't get to the door and say I'm ready when you should already have something built. When you exit that door, you're prepared to go to the next. So as an entrepreneur, you're always trying to figure out, okay, so what is my next? This is done. I know it's 3 months from now, but it's done. So God, what are we working on next? So, just to always keep the fresh, the elevation, the innovation to what you're doing, because at the end of the day, you don't want this to lay dormant, because you built this from ground up and you want to continue to build and continue to keep going. You guys, I see public speaking, right? How to really, you're showcasing a different area, even though plus size is constantly trying to break barriers, right? But you all could be plus size, could be public speakers, and really explain the whole artifacts, the whole breakdown of Fat Girls Travel 2, where it could really take on another legs, and really just go forward, because you are bringing foreigners together to build this family. And as you said, the people that continue to come back really buying the experience and not just for the payment. So I commend you all on that. Great job. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So before we end the show, what keeps Ashley going? What keeps Natalie going? Prayer, affirmation, because as one may think, it's not as easy to work as with partners, right? But when you find a partner that you can gel, how do you keep yourself together to make sure that you maintain and carry your weight in your business? So what keeps Ashley going? What keeps Natalie going? So anyone could go first.
I think the beauty of being partners is that we have each other. So wherever, like, my strengths and Natalie's weaknesses and Natalie's strengths and my weaknesses, they mesh together well, right? Like, it's literally one of those things where it's like, where I'm weak, Natalie's strong.
Mhm.
I'm not as much of an introvert. So when we're at these events, when I'm like at my max on talking to people, Natalie's like, baby, I'm just getting started. um, so
Yeah.
I think that's something that keeps me going. Like, I know that I have a partner who sees my weaknesses and who
Mhm.
sees my strengths and knows, just how we can play off of that. That's one thing that keeps us going outside of God, right? Because God is
Right.
first. And I think that is
Mhm.
why our partnership works so much, is because we both have a firm foundation in relationship with God.
Right.
I
Awesome.
think I echo that. I think that's definitely true. I think Ash and I know Ash and I have developed um, a great like friendship, right? And I think we both have a relationship with God, and our relationship with God continues to grow. And I think that relationship with God that we grow in our personal journey, how it has allowed
Mhm.
us to be supportive to each other, and has allowed
Yeah.
our business and our friendship to flourish, right? And I think a great part of our partnership, I think we give each other grace, right? We give each other
Mm.
grace, and we give each other friendship and understanding, right? We both want this business to flourish. We want this to be successful. But I think more than that, we want each other to be successful, right? We want each other to be mentally okay. We want each other to be good in our relationships and our family, right? That, and
Mhm.
Fat Girls Travel 2 is an addition to that, right? And I think a lot of times when people enter into business relationships, they forget that. They forget that money and business is second, God is first, relationships and
Right.
family are important, right? They are very important. And those things don't come second to the business, right? And so I oftentimes analyze our relationship and analyze our business. And sometimes you think about strategic planning or where we're lacking at. And I often come back to that, right? Because it's a great foundation that we have. And sometimes people might be like, yeah, you guys could be doing so much more. But that's okay,
Right.
because that foundation is what's necessary. You can build so much more, but when when your foundation is rocky, how long is what so much more that you build going to last, right? And so we have a solid foundation, and I think it takes us far, and it's going to take us further.
Yes, 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 yes. And this, and this that little piece that you stated, Natalie, where sometimes some people could see more for you, but God didn't call that vision for me yet. I'm working in His
Mhm.
realm, right? I'm not moving without Him. Some people is almost like, okay, I have to yield to His word to know that, hey, if $50,000 were to come to me, just because it came, is it from Him? So I have to
Mhm.
yield to His command. So I truly agree. Don't allow no one to push you into the next if you're not ready, because again, sometimes what may look good is not really good. So that's great to hear. So thank you all so much for being on Coffee with Joy. So excited. Go ahead, Ashley. Go ahead, Ash.
Now,
Say
I
that one
want to
more
say, like,
thing.
not even that sometimes things aren't good. It's just not always the right timing, right? Or it's not your strategy.
Timing.
And
Mhm.
Mhm.
people will give you their strategy. So you get the strategy, right? And then you can't sustain it. So the thing is, you got to have the wisdom to sustain and know what's good ain't always right for what you have going on, right? So
Mhm.
we got to know
Amen.
what's right and what's aligned for us,
Right,
not
right,
always
right.
what's
And
good,
that's
because $50,000 is good, but if you don't have the financial stewardship to
Sure.
sustain it, babe,
hmm
$50,000
yeah,
ain't
it's a
Sorry.
good, but it's
whole
gone.
realm. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
whole realm. So you have to know what God is calling. So when you in His
Yeah.
realm, works well. So thank you all so much. I think you all shared such great information. We know that someone is going to definitely join from Coffee with Joy, because hey, why not? Who doesn't like to travel? Yes, that's
Yes.
correct. Who doesn't like to travel? So again,
Yeah.
thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Natalie, again for being on Coffee with Joy. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy. We look forward to hearing from you. And please make sure that you leave a comment. I know Ashley and Natalie would sure like to answer anything that you all may have. They're open across all social media, and you can find them on their website, the fatgirlstravel2.com. I know that they have any answer to your question. And if not, they will surely get back with you all. So please make sure that you patronize our company. Of course, you see that our Q codes here, like I stated before, at the top piece. So we'll love any small donation would definitely help. And as you all know, we look forward to seeing you all, if it's a weekday or weekend. It is Coffee with Joy. Until then, you all live life on purpose. See you all soon. We